I'm waking up. This is the first morning that we are spending, the first morning that we are waking up in Hawaii, Oahu. We're staying at the beautiful Paradise Bay Resort and overlooking the beautiful bayou and waking up as the sun is slowly starting to rise. Sunrise isn't until 6:16 a.m. Right now it's right getting close to 6 a.m. Which means that back home it is, I think, getting close to noon. But you can hear the beautiful birds chirping, and just to wake up and see the mountains as they're just starting to pierce through the night fog and the night air and starting to pierce through into the day. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I cannot be any more thankful, grateful, and just feel so immensely blessed. So I'm just so thankful to God for this opportunity. And I just, at this moment in my life, here with my amazing husband, who was so amazing to bless me with this trip for my birthday, and to have a beautiful daughter who actually did amazing with the flights and traveling. I mean, to have traveled as long as we did, she did amazing. Of course, she's a toddler, so she got fidgety, but she did great. And so I just, at this moment, I could not ask for anything more. So just wanted to document the first morning waking up. I just did a workout out on our beautiful balcony overlooking the bayou, listening to the birds chirping. It was still sort of dark, so it's just peaceful. And now I'm getting to wake up. Now I'm getting to see the day start to wake up and the mountains again piercing through. So it's just amazing and beautiful, and I'm just so grateful. Now I'm going to just take a moment, spend some time with the Lord, as I get to see this beautiful sight that He created. And yeah, I'll keep you posted on how this trip is going. What's up, my community? We are back from our amazing trip, and it's been a few days, and I am still on travel/vacation mode. My brain, I cannot get focused on work or anything because I am just still on vacation mode / in Hawaii. But I'm here tonight on this rainy evening, enjoying just a night of just rest and relaxation. Because as you all know, that you need vacation after the vacation, right? But while I was sitting here relaxing, I wanted to take a few minutes to give you guys a few travel tips, especially now that we are traveling, well, I guess you could say during the pandemic, or we are transitioning. We're in a transition phase during pandemic, I guess. But I wanted to give you a few travel tips that I thought might be helpful to share with you guys. And so, yeah, just wanted to jump right on into it. The first travel tip that I want to share with you guys is to plan ahead. If it wasn't important before to plan ahead on a trip, it is definitely important now, in which I'm sure that all of you know, before you go on a trip, there are certain things that you need to have in place in order to be able to get through TSA. But one of the things that we experienced preparing for our trip to Hawaii was they require for you to have a QR code in order to enter the island. or that's what they were requiring during the time of our travel. And in order to obtain that QR code, you have to register on their website, and then you have to visit one of their partner locations where you can get a rapid test done, in which you have to have that rapid test done within 72 hours of boarding your flight. And obviously you have to get a negative test result, a negative COVID test result, and then upload it to that website, complete their health questionnaire and all of that, follow their whole situation that they have on this website. And then once you complete that process in its entirety, then they will send you a QR code that will then allow you to be able to get in on the island. And so once we got off the plane in the airport there in Oahu, everyone had to file in a single file line, and go and get your QR code scanned, and then you go through another partition where you they give you some more information, and then you're able to head on into the island to roam about freely. And so one of the other things that I realized was important was that sometimes when we travel, we just kind of like to not have a plan necessarily, but just to sort of kind of, free for all, find some fun things to do while we're there. A lot of times we find that scheduling certain activities when you're traveling is cheaper than when you try to plan them in advance, through certain websites and whatnot. Sometimes you get the most expensive price whenever you do it through a website versus when you get there. Sometimes you can get things cheaper. But one of the things that I realized we could have done better, or at least I could have, in terms of trying to plan, was making a plan of our activities a little bit better, because certain things like luau's that we wanted to be able to experience while we were there was a little bit more difficult, being able to get tickets for those types of events, because they were all sold out. Limited capacity due to COVID restrictions made it harder to have availability for larger number of groups of people. And so we were not able to book a ticket for luau while we were there. So we didn't get that experience. However, one of the things that I'm so grateful for, the Polynesian Culture Center is one of the best places to experience a luau and to see their show. And so one of the things I'm so grateful for is that even though we didn't get the luau experience, we still were able to take advantage of one of their shows. And it was the Breath of Life show, and it was absolutely amazing. But I wish that I would have planned ahead a little bit better, so that we could have actually had tickets to do the luau experience. So just now with the way things are, you just might serve you better if you take some time out, try to find those activities that that you want to be able to do that would require tickets, and get them early, even though it could possibly end up being a little bit more expensive. Go ahead and do it then, just so that you will be able to guarantee that you actually get that experience. So planning ahead is crucial while traveling during a pandemic. Travel tip number 2 is go off the beaten path. I know for us, it is always important to make unforgettable memories during travel. And one of the things that we figured out for us that makes some of those most unforgettable moments is when we doing some of the things that may not be the most big touristy things to do. getting into the local, more of the local activities, and being a part of the local community, and even where we stay. We sort of prefer to stay somewhere that's closer to the heart of like the locals and things of that nature. And so for us during this travel to Oahu, instead of staying in the busy Waikiki, Honolulu area, we decided to stay, I think it was the windward side, which I believe is like the eastern side of the island. And literally our hotel, or the resort that we stayed in, Paradise Bay Resort, this video is not sponsored, by the way, but it was literally like right in a residential like type neighborhood. Pulling up to it, you would just think like, are we in the wrong place? Like, you could not tell that it was a resort until you walked inside. It was one of those situations where you seriously could not judge the book by its cover, because once we walked inside, literally it was just a beautiful oasis that opened up to us, that was hidden away from all of the other places around it, the homes around it and everything. It was just hidden away, and it was just so beautiful. And being on the side that was a little bit more local and residential, we were able to discover little beaches along the way that you might not have got to experience had you been in the more busier touristy areas. Taking a hike was amazing. It was actually one of the popular hikes. So that one, it still was a kind of a popular place to go, but it still felt rugged and off the beaten path. And it was the MAKAPUU Lighthouse Trail. Absolutely beautiful. And along that same stretch, there is a beach called the Sandy Beach Park. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, we did do the Waikiki, Honolulu trip during one of the days during our trip. But to be completely honest with you, we were so glad that we didn't actually stay in that part of the island, because it really just sort of kind of felt like, going to Myrtle Beach, to be completely honest. It had that whole commercial touristy vibe, whereas some of these other areas that we got to experience, such as some of the smaller beaches along the path of where we stayed on the windward side, and the Sandy Beach Park, and going to the MAKAPUU Trail. I mean, it was just so beautiful. And then also you didn't have to, it wasn't as packed with people. Now, I will say that the Sandy Beach Park, it was pretty full, especially the particular day that we went, because I mean, it was absolutely beautiful day, which, I mean, what days in Hawaii are not beautiful? But it certainly was not as crowded as being down in the Waikiki Beach area. We could still find plenty of room for Angel to be able to run around where we weren't crowded by people. We were able to enjoy a small little section of the beach to ourselves. And then during the trail, I mean, it really wasn't, and we kind of went at the tail end of the day. So I think that helped out in regards to the trail. So a lot of people that would have been hiking that day would have went earlier. So we just went a little bit later, towards the later end of the day, as the sun was beginning to set. By the time we were coming down, the sun was starting to set. So we didn't have to worry about being so crowded with people and things of that nature. But yeah, just taking a moment, go off the beaten trail, do something that is not so touristy. It also can help to make some truly unforgettable moments in your travel. Now, I have to talk about traveling with the toddler. Travel tip number 3. So there are a lot of videos out here that talks about
traveling with a toddler and how to make the best experience. And I myself definitely went on YouTube University, as I like to call it, before I left to get some tips on traveling with a toddler. It was very helpful. One of the things that I learned from a mom on YouTube, I wish that I would have archived the video or somehow saved it, but I didn't. She talked about have the $1 gifts, $1 toys and activity packet sets that they have at Target. And that was actually very, very helpful. I was able to find like some little skateboard, like finger skateboard things, because my daughter, she likes things that like have like the little wheels on it. I knew she would keep her keep her occupied. And I found a Peppa Pig. She likes Peppa Pig, so I found this little activity set with like crayons and some other little baby shark. They had a baby shark little packet, so I was able to pick up a few of those. And again, they were only $1, so I didn't have to break the bank. Planning for the trip was enough. So being able to have those little toys were very helpful. And then, the thing is I feel like we all know our children. And so, what would keep your child, preoccupied the best. And so go with that. We definitely had the iPad and, had some of her favorite videos and stuff like that downloaded so that while we were on the plane, it definitely kept her busy, kept her preoccupied. She did so well. I was so very proud of her. Of course, being a toddler, she would get fidgety at moments, but, being able to, get her bottle, we made sure that our bag was full of the travel size. We have for her, we use Ripple the milk, and they have the travel bottles, or their little containers, travel containers. So we packed our bag full of those. Thankfully, traveling with milk and formula and things of that nature for children, it doesn't have to meet the 3 ounce or 3.5 ounce or whatever it is. It doesn't have to meet that requirement. So we were able to, pack a bag full of those, so that, and a fresh bottle, so that when she started to get a little antsy, we could have a bottle of milk for her. And we had her iPad with her downloaded videos that kept her preoccupied. She would like to stand up from time to time on the plane, so she would just sort of kind of go between the two of us and just stand up a little bit and play around. But she did so well. So, my main tips for me, that I learned with traveling with a toddler was patience. So the biggest tip that I would have for parents who might be thinking, because our daughter, she is, she's almost 22 months. She'll be 22 months in about a week or so. So she's just a little over 1.5. And, so she's definitely moving over into that 2-year-old, the terrific twos and all of that kind of stuff. And so for those who may be out there wondering, should I travel with my toddler? Your toddler, so what they might be able to handle. But if you think that your toddler may be able to have the capacity to handle travel, then I would say do it. One of the things that's important to me is making memories. And now looking back, on all the pictures that we were able to take, and the videos that I was able to take, and just to know that 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, she'll be able to look back on that and to, just to see those memories, it means everything. And so I'm so very glad that we decided to do it. But for me, the most important thing was having patience, because a child is going to be a child. And I know that sometimes it can be embarrassing if your child acts out or what have you. But one thing I've learned, because, seeing other parents with their children, and their children, started to maybe get very, very upset on the plane, or, when we did a boat tour. And there was a couple, and their child, their little baby girl, she got really, really upset on the boat, crying and everything. One of the things that I realized is that I have empathy for those parents, and if I have something that can be helpful, like on the boat, I was, like, would your child like some crackers? We made sure we had a lot of snacks for Angel. And so, gave the crackers, and that sort of helped to calm the baby down a little bit. But your child may act out a little bit, but most people around that have children, hopefully they will be empathetic. And if they're not, so what? I mean, I know if it's unbearable, I totally understand. And listen, I get it. You might say, it's not for me. I know my kid, we are not doing it. And that's totally fine. But, patience is just one of those things that is just necessary with traveling with the kid. I know even with some of the activities that we were trying to plan to do throughout the day during our trip, Angel would end up falling asleep. And so I just had to be patient and say, you know what? Okay, maybe we'll end up having to do this a little bit later, or maybe we'll have to postpone this until tomorrow. Thankfully, some of those things were activities that we didn't necessarily have to have tickets for, or that it was easy for us to just, either do it a little bit later or change it, save it for the next day. But I could have chose that moment to get upset and be frustrated or whatnot, or just still enjoy my trip, sit back, enjoy the balcony that we had at our beautiful place, and just let her get her nap out. So then that way, when we did leave and go and have that activity, take part in that activity, then she would be in a good mood. So patience to me is one of the biggest tips that I would like to offer to parents with traveling with a toddler. The other tip that I would offer, traveling with children, period, or just with a family, or even if it's by yourself, to be completely honest, especially now, since, again, we have this pandemic situation going on, and we are trying to make sure that we effectively social distance and things of that nature. One of the other tips that I would have is, if you have the ability to save a couple of extra dollars and put it in your budget for travel, so that you can take advantage of the lounges at the airports, that is gonna be a game changer for you. Okay. I never knew about lounges at the airport until I started traveling with my husband. And there are certain credit cards that allow you access into certain lounges at airports. And right now, because it is COVID and the pandemic time, there are some lounges at certain airports that are closed. However, there are still some that are open. So in one of the lounges, if you are flying American Airline, that they do still have open is the Admiral Lounge. And if you do not have one of their credit cards that allow you to get access to the Admiral Lounge, you can purchase a day pass for, I think it's $60 per adult. We didn't have to pay anything for Angel since she was young enough. But it was $60 extra for the both of us, or $60 each. But it was so worth it. Our flight from LA to Honolulu, we had I believe it was a 3-hour layover. And the idea of staying in that main area as you're waiting to board your flight with 1.5 or, over 1.5-year-old, the thought of it was just like daunting, because, trying to keep her, from wanting to run around and all the people and, just trying not to be around a bunch of people. It was just a little bit like, ugh. So we were able to go into this lounge, super, super chill. There's so many I mean, there's so many areas in there for you to be able to get comfortable and relax. And, you know, there's food in there. They've got some complimentary things. There's some things that are for purchase, some meals that are for purchase. But then they also had a child's room. And because we are in the pandemic time, there could only be one family in the children's room at a time. And there were no other families waiting to go into this room. So we had the room all to ourselves. Angel could run around. They had the cartoons playing. So for that 3-hour period that we had to wait, we were able to order some food, sit in there comfortably, eat our food, allow her to run around, get tired out a bit. So by the time we boarded the plane, she was sort of tired already. So she slept most of the time. So it just worked out. The extra $120 between the two of us, it was so worth it. So if you have the ability to add it into the budget for your travel, to go and take advantage of the lounges that are open in the airports, do it. Travel tip number 4, treat yourself. In Hawaii, obviously, you're going to experience some good food. And we watched some videos that helped us to prepare for some of the things that we should try while we were there. One of the popular things to try in Hawaii is the malasadas. It's a delicious bakery item that you can get original, that just is full. It's like this donut. It's just this delicious donut of sorts, and the original comes just loaded down with like sugar, and then you can get like others that are like either filled with chocolate or that also has cinnamon. And Leonard's is like the popular place to try the malasadas. I actually really like the Leonard's malasadas that we tried. My husband actually preferred, there is a chain restaurant there, Zippy's, and he actually preferred Zippy's over Leonard's, but they were actually pretty good. But one of the things that I would, and obviously the Hawaiian shave ice is also a popular thing to try whenever you go to Hawaii. But one of the things that I really enjoyed, more than my husband, but I really enjoyed it, was the pineapple whip. So there are certain places around that you can find it, but you definitely can get it. And I think the best place to get it is the Dole Plantation. They have delicious pineapple whip. It is a dairy-free type ice cream situation where they like take the pineapple and do some magic work with it and whip it up to the point to where you feel like you're actually eating an ice cream cone. But it's no dairy involved from what I understand. My husband said that it was way too pineapple-y for him, but for me, I love pineapple. So it was delicious. So if you get a chance, take advantage of the delicious treats there, the malasada, the shave ice, but definitely go to the Dole Plantation and try out the pineapple whip. You'll thank me. And my last travel tip number 5, pictures. Now, I know that I don't have to tell you guys to take plenty of pictures on your trips, because I mean, who is going on a trip and not take pictures? But one of the things that I found during my research prior to going to Oahu, I wanted to make sure, for me, going to such a beautiful place, I knew that, we would be able to take selfies, and maybe there would be certain places where we could get someone to snap a picture for us. But I really wanted to be able to take advantage of the beautiful scenery and get some actual professional photos done while we were there. And in my research, I came across this company, again, not sponsored, but Flytographer. They have a service all around the world. So various places that you would go and travel all across the world internationally. one of the places that they also set up shop is in Hawaii, in Oahu. And I was connected with this amazing photographer, Enzo. Shout out to you, Enzo. You are amazing. So with photographer, you get to choose the route that you want to take. I know for us, I went with the KUALOA beach. I think that's the right way to say it. I think it's on the northeast shore. And it was absolutely beautiful. We were able to have the mountains behind us. There was the beach. I mean, it was just absolutely gorgeous. So if you are, looking to take professional photos in certain places that you're going to go travel, again, they have this service so many places all across the world. You might want to check out Flytographer. Again, you definitely would need to budget for this. It is a little bit pricey, or it can be a tad bit pricey. They have 30-minute shoots, I think, that start at like $265. 60-minute shoot, that's about $385 or so. So it can be a bit pricey. But if you want really, really good professional pictures and you don't have another alternative, you might want to consider checking out Flytographer. And if you are in the Oahu area and you decide you want to check out Flytographer, definitely hit up Enzo. He is amazing. So those are my 5 travel tips that I wanted to share with you that hopefully may be helpful for you, especially if you're deciding to travel throughout this pandemic time. And that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, night, rest of the week or weekend, whenever you decide to watch this video. And if you haven't done so already, I want you to stop, take a moment, find a reason to laugh, and keep smiling. Until next time, and always stay blessed.